Greetings, folks. Today, this is Tuesday evening, April the 2nd, 2019. I'm Tom Lineweaver, and this is my evening commentary. Alright. This morning, when I was ranting and raving about media and government and all that stuff, you know what I normally rant and rave about. Anyway, I mentioned articles of anarchy, and I'll bet you thought I was kidding. Actually, I was kidding, but I'm not any longer. You see, for some reason, that idea stuck in my head. So I decided to research it. What does anarchy mean? Well, the word simply means without ruler. It does not mean without rules. Okay? Do you get that? If you see in the picture on the screen, it says anarchy doesn't mean chaos or disorder. It means freedom from oppressive, centralized authority with a monopoly on force. I like that idea. How about you? Let's see. In anarchy, the power of the individual is paramount. You can't rule over me. I have my rights. You can't rule over me. I decide what happens to my life. You can't kill me. You can't steal from me, because this is all mine. So the power of the individual is paramount. And that means, if you believe you can invade my home, hey, I'm going to defend it. And nobody can stop me from defending my life or my home. Okay? It really is where the man's home is his castle. This is my home, and I'm going to protect it. Now, that's anarchy, folks. The power of the individual is anarchy. All right. Now, like I said, anarchy doesn't mean without rules. And I think if we had an anarchical society, we should decide on certain standard rules. 1, you must not murder anyone, and you must not steal from them. Now, how can we enforce that? Well, let me think. We don't have government, and we don't have a whole lot of rules, and so we don't have anybody to enforce those rules. Or do we? Certainly, I can enforce those rules in my own home. Alright? You come into my home without my knowledge, or without my permission, I can shoot you because you're trespassing. That's anarchy, folks. Okay? Really? Some parts of the Constitution of the United States actually protect anarchical ideals, like the Second Amendment. The federal people, the founders thought man has a right to protect his own life and to protect his own home. Those are what rules should be for. What rules we have should make the individual paramount. Now, that doesn't mean we can't combine. That doesn't mean I, as an individual, can't join some collective, like a church. Really? I mean, let's say we get together. Let's say we're going to have a community picnic. Hey, that's great. I, as an individual, can go to that community picnic if I want to. I don't have to if I don't want to. That's anarchy, folks. I have the liberty to be what I want with whom I want to be it with. That's as simple as I can put it. And what's wrong with that? You think anarchy means chaos and violence and all that? No, it does not. Well, it doesn't have to. So, okay, so every man, every woman should have the right to protect their own homes and to protect their own lives, because you have the right to life. Right to living, right to life is an inherent right. It's about the only inherent right we have. And so we have the right to protect it. We have all that. Any rules that we have should be toward that, in pursuance of individual rights. Now, let me explain. What if we get rid of our government? Well, who's going to make these rules that we're going to follow? Not a government. Who's going to enforce these rules? Not a government. Individual rights say I can join a collective of people that will make those rules and enforce them. Do you hear that? So that leads to what people call community policing. We have no police force. If you catch somebody in your home against your rule, you can either shoot the hell out of them or you can capture him, lock him up somewhere, put him in a refrigerator and lock the refrigerator, or whatever. And then you come to the rest of the community and say, hey, I caught this guy in my home and he didn't belong there. So the community decides they're going to discuss this matter. And then the community decides what to do with that guy. So yes, I can't help but think about Little House on the Prairie. You ever watch that show? Love that show. Folks, Little House on the Prairie was an exercise in anarchy. Really? Seriously? It was a community of anarchy. I mean, consider, hey, Mrs. Olson could do whatever she wanted to do. Mr. Olson could do whatever he wanted to do. Charles Ingalls, the Ingalls family, they were basically we're talking about people who had individual rights, and the only time they came together as community as a collective to worship or to decide on a school. But it was a community thing. There was no government. None. No government. Well, they might have had a mayor, but he didn't do much. The most government they had was the president of the bank. and at first, there wasn't a president of the bank. So, I mean, come on. These people were anarchists. They all had individual liberty. Now, but they also had charity because they cared about one another. So, let me tell you something. I would love to see a charitable anarchy replace what we have today. I would love to see that. And I might even start promoting the idea. Get rid of government. We don't need government. What we need is charitable anarchists. That's what we need. I thought when I first said articles of anarchy, I was joking. I was kidding. But the more I thought about it today, the more I thought, wow, that's not a bad idea. Think about it. The power of the individual is paramount. I mean, if you want to stay away from people completely all your life, that's up to you. Or if you want to unite with people for a common cause, that's up to you. Nobody can force you to do these things. Wouldn't you like to have a society like that? Hey, listen, I'm going to marry this woman. We're going to live together as man and wife. I don't need a government. I don't have to go to the government for a license. Now, maybe my local community might say, we got to know whether you got to have something written or some kind of certificate. Okay, good. We go to church, we get married, and the church gives a certificate of marriage. Boom. Enough. We don't need a government. We don't need a government. When we're born, whoever helps the woman, like a midwife, or even if she goes to a doctor, whatever, they give the certificate of birth, not the government. We don't need a government. We can do these things among ourselves. What about a driver's license? Well, it depends. Depends on the community and how they want to do it. You see, I don't like making a person wait to 18 to get a driver's license because, hey, they might be a good driver and a better driver than a lot of people at the age of 15. So why make them wait? So I don't know. I mean, there are certain things that might not, we might not be work too well in an anarchical society, but we can work all that stuff out. Now, let's say we don't have a government, and we don't have a district attorney, and we don't have any of that stuff. We don't have a police force. Who's going to enforce the rules? That's it. It is the people who decide what the rules are. And they can, together, decide who the enforcer is. He's not going to make rules, he's just going to enforce them. Alright? Now, or, like I said, we could do community policing. So, anyway, I mean, we're talking about ultimate freedom here. We're talking about ultimate liberty here. We are free. Totally. 100% free. To be a part of something or not be a part of something. I like it. What do you think? That's my evening commentary. Thank you for listening.